Ooh la la!
Welcome to our channel. I am Fox Gaming Vixen Roxy. We have a review of Cyberpunk 2077, and we hope you will find it helpful and enjoyable. So get your cognitive enhancers and Kiroshi optics. Time to jack in. Let's get started. We have had some time to take a deep dive into Cyberpunk 2077. We have played through all of the life paths several times now. We have played through numerous endings to the game. We have discovered all the romance partners. We have unlocked most of the perks and all the skill trees. So after all this playtime, we must have some idea of how this game stacks up. The story and writing in this game are superb. They had done a great job in immersing the player into a futuristic culture. This new world has its own fashion, its own language, and its own class hierarchy. The world has been imagined and built for the player to explore and lose themselves within. And it is very easy to get immersed within Night City. The character development in this game is nothing short of astonishing. At least for the main story and a lot of the side job characters. You find yourself gaining more insight on the characters that V meets than that of V herself. The personalities of the characters that V meets are, of course, brought to life by the superb voice acting done by the crew. You find yourself wanting to spend time with the characters you befriend, and wanting to smack around the characters that push your buttons. Sometimes you get to do both. Yeah, Fingers, we haven't forgotten about you. The amount of side jobs in the game gives the player the opportunity to stay with one character for at least a few missions in most cases. The characters gain more trust in V as more missions are completed. The thought that went into the writing is reflected in the dialogue as the relationships with the characters V meets grows during each of their storylines. The characters start out as a stranger. After a few completed missions, you become close friends. The player is free to explore the storylines she wishes to play and skip the ones that are less appealing. We give the story and plot a 10 out of 10. The story is really that good. The graphics in this game are drawn well. The world that has been created makes you feel like you have been dropped into another world that feels very familiar to our own. They have done a pretty good job of adding busy streets and shopping centers in the city areas. Lots of traffic in downtown areas with lots of people wandering around. The big buildings and neon lights make Night City feel like a real city. You do get a sense of different neighborhoods with the different architectures in different neighborhoods. The downtown area has all the modern architecture of any big city's downtown area. Japantown has its Japanese-style architecture. You begin to learn the different areas just from the look of the surrounding architecture. There is garbage littered everywhere, like most big cities with sanitation issues. The wasteland area gives the out-in-the-middle-of-nowhere feel, with nothing but sand dunes, tumbleweeds, and cacti for miles. It does feel like a dusty desert when leaving the comforts of the city. It gives you the feeling that you only want to visit the wasteland when you have a mission to accomplish. Get the job done, and get back to the city before you get dirt under your cybernetic fingernails. The game does have some odd glitches with the graphics from time to time. You will see the occasional character do the T-pose from time to time, as well as those smokers having floating cigarettes hanging in midair after they have walked away. We had Johnny Silverhand do this a few times. It did seem to get better after a patch. 8 out of 10 on the environment. The graphics issues keep it from being a perfect score. We played exclusively on the PS5, so PS4 players may have a different take. The world does pull you in, but the occasional glitch does get distracting. The game lets you play many different styles and still be successful. You can play as a quick hacker, sniper, stealthy ninja, run and gunner. Pick a weapon or skill and you can most likely build a character around it. They have done a good job of giving a lot of skills, perks, and cyberware to help support the playstyle you choose. The game design has an assortment of skills that you level up as you use them, which is pretty realistic. The more a skill gets used, the more it will sharpen. It seems that they were trying to make stealth a viable playstyle option without locking you into it. Seems all the gameplay decisions were centered around how stealth would be affected. Most main missions, side jobs, and gigs can be completed with a high probability of success with a stealth hacker build. Patience is the key using this build, but it is a powerful character build. Silencers on a sniper seem to be a waste. You can bust a mob from a far distance successfully, only to be found by another roamer to alert the rest of the base. Guess this is realistic, but snipers seem to be one-time use. You need a fallback plan to use a sniper, in our opinion. Melee works very well combined with the health and stamina regen enhancements. On higher difficulties, you'll need to do some stealth to take out a few mobs before going berserk on the rest. It is easy to get overwhelmed using melee strategies in the wrong situations. 3 or 4 mobs is doable with melee. If you pull 5 or 6, you get overwhelmed. The balance gets tipped harshly fast. Even 1 extra mob could be the difference between success and flatlining. The AI plays pretty smart with the netrunners taking cover behind the lines to hit you with hacks. The melee mobs get into your face quickly. The gunners take cover and take aim, firing off their clips, then retreating behind cover to reload. The mobs move around as you move, taking up advantaged positions as you move in. The game does have some good boss mobs that will be encountered occasionally. If you do the Cyber Psycho job scattered around, you'll be familiar how the game handles boss mobs. The bosses give unique challenges to the player. Some are extremely strong against certain strategies. Your character will need to have backup skills and strategies to be effective against bosses. Stealth usually falls short versus bosses. You can catch an early advantage using stealth, but a backup plan of using quick hacks, ARs, or grenades, for example, to finish the job is usually needed. Oda, for example, never gives the player a chance to stealth. Reboot his optics to get a stealth mode, perhaps? The game does run smoothly in combat and doesn't bog down regardless how many mobs are on screen. The one issue we saw was a crash when loading needed to be done. Perhaps the swap file couldn't rewrite while the action was going on? Not sure on the technical side, but there were some bugs in the main program that would cause crashes. We rebooted the system and reloaded from the last checkpoint when this would happen. Oddly, it normally played through the scenario the second time around with no issues on a fresh reboot. Makes us think that the memory management wasn't operating correctly when the game was actually playing. There does seem to be a memory leak in the program. Just our guess. Yes, we are professional computer geeks on this channel. Computer geeks love gaming too. We do have to mention that vehicle drive is handled horribly in this game. This is why we believe that fast travel is the preferred method of getting around the map. This is one area we think needs to be tuned up and playtested much better. That being said, there are a lot of vehicles to find and try. Several really cool vehicles can be found for free in this game if you know where to look. Hint hint Saul's Coyote for betraying Panem. 6 out of 10 gameplay on day 1 of release. 9 out of 10 after the patches. The issues have mostly been corrected with the game's early problems. Nothing like letting the public playtest your product for you. To summarize, we give Cyberpunk 2077 an 8 out of 10. The game had an enormous amount of hype before its release. No game would be able to live up to this high bar. All arguments aside on that point, the game is fun to play. You can pick any number of playstyles and do well. We suggest playing it at least one time using only stealth or stealth hacking. You will get a greater sense of appreciation for the game's mechanics. Try all 3 life paths to play with the different dialogue options. Street Kid gives you insight into why Wakako helps you against Arasaka at the parade, as a small example of life path dialogue. The other life paths won't give you the insight. Try completing as many of the side quests and gigs as you can to see some of the side plots that were written into the game. We are somewhat surprised that more fuss wasn't made regarding the Sinnerman questline. We've enjoyed playing the game and enjoyed bringing you gameplay advice videos for it. We are disappointed with the endings in the game like the rest of the crowd. That being said, we recognize these endings leave the door wide open to a sequel in the future. What a great storyline to start the sequel! Genius writers know how to set up a cliffhanger. Honestly, the way the whole release, patching, and PR was handled, CD Projekt Red owes the fans that stuck with this title big time. A brilliant follow-up sequel, in our humble opinion, would be the best way to show your fans the appreciation so rightly deserved. So don't be a bunch of gonks and give your chooms a sequel, please! What are your thoughts about Cyberpunk 2077? Let us know how you like it. Do you think the game is due for a sequel? Tell us in the comment section your thoughts. Thank you for watching.
Ooh la la.